Sorry.
And here we are. We're a bit late, but we're here. People, we got 2 people watching us as of right now, so that's a good sign.
Boom.
We're going to go ahead and get things started. So welcome into another episode of Comic Book Spectrum. I believe we got guests here with us.
We do?
Yes, you do. You said you have
Oh,
friends.
yes.
Mhm.
We're friends. Yes.
Nice.
This
Yeah.
is Cuddly Dudley. He's working to get ahead in the world. And this is Chavelston the Duck. He's been on a bit of an extreme diet lately because he knew he was going to be on camera and he didn't want to look fat.
Mhm.
Okay, so
It's had bird flu, it
excuse-
looks like.
And these are the twins,
Oh.
Vexalia and Vaxildan. They're ducks. They're little squeaky toys who don't squeak because I got them at the Dollar Tree.
Well,
So yes, they'll be popping in from time to time to help out.
the good thing here is that I hope I didn't disturb you guys as I was watching a certain series.
What series are you watching?
Agatha All Along.
Oh,
Oh, you caught up on it?
Well, everything except for this week's episode.
Oh. Well.
that dropped last night.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't watch last night, so
I've been
I'm
catching
up
up.
to date all the way up until last night episode, and I could understand why a lot of people don't like it. They took too much liberty with a lot of stuff, which to me, if I could say it in my most professional editorial type deal, I really wish they would took part of episode 5 and mixed it with episode 1, and then it would have told a better story. Because it would have been better. It would have been better if we would have known from everybody else's point of view at the very beginning that she wasn't 100% in her right mind.
I kind of like
they try to play that whole gotcha moment here with the whole, trying to transition her from WandaVision to her own series. And a lot of stuff felt like, okay, if the whole town was still playing along, what was somebody that was outside of that community was seeing? And again, not giving spoilers, because one of the secondary characters to me is a spoiler. That character was outside of that city,
Yes.
coming into all of that, and it's just like, really, why did you have to do half of episode 5 as a rehash just from his point of view? Put it in episode 1. All that could have been combined in episode 1 and would have made a much cleaner told story.
Well, I think they were trying to keep his identity a secret. That's why they waited so long.
Although it wasn't a very well kept secret, because
no, most people figure it out. I mean, no, they try, but yeah.
Overall, I'd be curious to see what you think of this week's episode, because it also has a point of view switch around kind of thing that is, I think, makes it interesting. But I had to catch up. I had to keep up with it because it was kind of challenging. So
a little bit, yeah. But it focused on my favorite character in the show.
It was just so wrong. The story was told wrong.
No, it wasn't.
No,
I mean, in your opinion, yes, it was. But
because again,
it worked for me.
If the whole thing was centered around walking the road, it doesn't matter who had what parts and how and what point of view it comes from. The end result is what is at the end of the road for certain characters.
In other words, what are they going to get out of this?
Exactly.
Other than what Agatha,
and that's what I got from all the other episodes up to this point. They make too much of a to do about characters where it really wasn't about characters, because if it was about the actual individual characters, certain characters wouldn't have died off in this series this quickly.
Okay. I spent the week seeing the last 3 episodes of Legend of Vox Machina season 3.
Mhm.
I love it. Amazon, like they did last time, held off to the last minute to get up and say, "Oh yeah, there'll be another season."
Hmm.
And despite everything they went through this season, because the great Lance Reddick died last year, but he had already recorded his bits, so they were able to include what he'd done in it. And I loved at the end of episode 1, they had an in memoriam posting for him at the end of that episode. Because a lot of those guys, the reason they got the people to do this show, like Gina Torres, and David Tennant, and Felicia Day and whatnot, is they know these guys. They've known these guys. And so, I mean, because they've even had Don Monahan and Billy Boyd on the show, which is funny because Don Monahan got invited to do season 1, and Billy Boyd was like, well, if he got to do a season, how come I don't get to do a season? So they put him in season 2. But I know several of them were broken up about Mr. Reddick dying because they had worked with him before. Many of the people, the Vox Machina crew, considered him a friend. And then on top of it, Sam Riegel, who, along with playing the role of Scanlan Shorthat, writes a lot of the music for that series. He got cancer and had to go through chemotherapy and surgery and whatnot. He's finally been determined. The last visit he had, they said they pronounced him cancer free for the moment, but he got a throat cancer, which is really hard when you do most of the singing, and they they count on you. So this year they've had to have other people performing. He and his brother-in-law still wrote a lot of the little songs and stuff, but they had to have other people come and perform music this year because for a while they weren't sure if he was going to be able to speak, let alone sing. He's back on the mend though, but it's been a really trying year for them as they've tried to try to keep up with things, as he bowed out of the tabletop game. He killed his character off. And as a fan, a lot of us saw that episode and saw the way his cast members were reacting. But there was something to it that seemed just a little bit more. And then later when he came out and did the video and said, what had happened and why he had to bow out of the game for so long, then suddenly things that were being said during the tabletop after that and that night suddenly made sense why everybody was crying so hard, because he was just getting ready to go into surgery. And they didn't know if he would survive it. So it's been this year has been an interesting road for them, and as a true critter, I'm like, y'all just keep on trucking. I love them because they started out, it's just a group of people. They played it one night as a gift for a friend, decided they liked it, kept playing it. Felicia Day was getting her channel up and said, hey, I need some content. Can you guys record what you're doing and put it on my channel? And they had really crappy equipment. I had a friend just talk about he's not sure what he wants to do, and he thinks he wants to do some stuff. And it's like they started out with crappy equipment. A lot of the early 100 plus episodes, the sound is bad. The video kind of sucks, but people got into the camaraderie, the story engaged a lot of people. So people talked about it, they started getting an audience, and now they're like a whole little empire. They still do their tabletop, which is the core, but they have a They have a publishing arm. They publish their own games. Plus, they've started investing in other people's games. They have a merch. They own. You could fill a Walmart, a big super Walmart, with their merch and have no room for anything else. They just have a crap ton of merch right now. And their store, they have stores. They have what you can order online here. They have an online shop for the UK, France, Mexico, several Japan. They have several different countries where they have fans, and they've set up online shops so that they can get all their merch and stuff. They've gone, and and now they're doing animation, and so they've turned themselves into a powerhouse. So we have to start planning. What are we going to do?
Mhm.
It's like we need to get some dancers. My friend here says he'll do some singing if we need it. And Chubbiston is always good for a shuffle. Come on, shuffle that. There you go. Shuffle off the buffalo.
Did we lose Joe?
Joe had to go. Oh, I'm sorry. Joe was having
Appliance
issues.
difficulty.
Yeah. Well, appliance user difficulty.
Okay.
Could be user error.
Our oven heating element, our cooking oven heating element went out today, so I gotta be YouTube fix it man tomorrow to.
Oh, that's easy.
That's what it looked like. It looked like it was a pretty simple fix, as long as I can find the part. It's a Kenmore Sears older model, so I'm hoping that. But it looks like the different companies make things that work with it. So,
do you have the model number, Clyde?
No, but I can get it. It's on the back of the. Actually, I think I got a picture of it someplace, but I'd have to find
That's
it.
why I always take a model of it, picture of it.
Yeah. And I can get them even if they're not available locally. I can get them online, but not a big fix. But
Lowe's or Home Depot should have them. Even though it's an older model, the heating elements don't change that much over the years.
We got Lowe's and Menards here in town, so I figure
Menards might have them. I know Lowe's will and Home Depot. Then check Amazon too. Yep.
What are we drawing tonight, Eric?
I'm cheating already because I liked my sketch so much. I'm working on. We're doing a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh.
I'm going to draw Meatloaf. It won't look too much like Meatloaf, but it'll be a chunky guy with a pompadour and a saxophone.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to talk for the next 15 minutes.
I decided to save my. I didn't have props. I just had a shirt that was all Halloweeny tonight. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have anything. Well, I got my new G.I. Joe, but he's not Halloween related. My Ghostbusters have been up here for a few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, Winston doesn't have his Proton pack because Winston lent himself to a customization a while back.
Uh-oh.
But then Hasbro made Doc, so I didn't need Winston's head anymore. So Winston came back to his body, but I don't know why I did it with his Proton pack. And we picked this up at Target.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like $1.50 or something like that. I don't know, but it's a cup. But I just thought it looked cool because it's a Wicked Witch, obviously. Yeah, it's got a little disco. People are saying it's Wicked merchandise, but it's obviously not because it did not have Wicked on it anywhere. It might be inspired by,
but not a licensed official.
No. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I left the light on a couple weeks ago, so the battery's dead on that. Come here, Sam.
Oh yeah.
They've got a Kickstarter right now.
They do
for a comic book with 4 stories with him in it.
Ah, but we've had a lot of horror anthologies drop this year.
Yeah, it's dropping now, but won't ship in time, of course.
Well, not till Christmas of next year. So.
Yeah. Legendary Comics, I think that was the same company that did the movie with him, but I don't know. I mean, it looked interesting.
Mm-hmm. You've seen the short animated that it's based on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So artist, kind of his bailiwick there. I wonder if he illustrates it. That would be interesting.
There was several illustrators. Kept popping up on my Facebook today.
Really quick, Beanie and Liz love your Halloween shirt, Clyde.
Oh, thank you.
Clyde has always got the best shirts.
I was gonna snatch one of my son's shirts that said, "This is my Halloween costume," but then I realized on camera it would come out backwards. Says it's like Clyde's Tuesday and Tabor unofficial Black Canary.
It's a trick or treat witching hours. Let's see. The guy that wrote Trick or Treat, he's doing some of the writing, which he's also done Godzilla King of the Monsters, and he did a Christmas horror comedy, Krampus.
Yes, Krampus!
So he wrote that too. Let's see. Breen Burns is the he's the concept artist who designed Sam.
Okay, there you go.
If you're looking for something, well, this will be for Leia and some of the guys in chat. If you're looking for good, wicked, silly fun for Halloween, look up Team 4 Stars Helsing Ultimate Abridged. It is a satire of the series, the Funimation series Helsing Ultimate, which is, Alucard, the vampire hunts other vampires. But they did a very wicked X-rated version of it. And it's on YouTube. It's 10 episodes. It's for those of you who can take the jokes, it's very hilarious. For those of you who can't, I'm suggesting don't watch it. No.
I watched Late Night with the Devil this week.
Oh, how is that?
Well, everybody I know that saw it kind of gave me their ideas about it, and I tend to agree. It starts off pretty good. David Dasmashian is kind of the showrunner, and the first 5 minutes is all the different production companies that have combined forces to get this thing made. So it's a fairly low budget, but it's shooting to be like a 70s. It's like, for the first time ever, all of the footage from this late night show from 1974 is being presented. Only up to now, only certain clips, a few clips had been released, and the network had held on to it. But basically, it's an exorcism sort of a thing on a late night TV show trying to get its Nielsen ratings up in 1974. And it's decent all the way up to the end. It does not stick the landing. It takes all of the things that it set up as its foundation and just kind of goes, but now we're at the end, so we can do whatever we want. As far as the continuity of the storyline doesn't hold up well. So, but with that in mind, it was enjoyable. It was a good Halloween watch.
Okay, well, I might give it. I had seen it and was thinking about giving it a look-see. So,
what movie was that?
Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, okay.
I did see the weirdest. We were talking about the different horror books and horror anthologies that have dropped here recently. The weirdest one, and I didn't get it. I may have to go back and get it now, is Godzilla's Monster Piece Theater.
I've never heard that one.
How could you not have gotten that? That just
I
sounds
know.
amazing.
Well, it's $6.99 for 48 pages.
Well,
And I wasn't real sure about, so I do get Godzilla things occasionally, but that didn't really, it's got a weird kind of a cartoony looking cover, and it just didn't really leap at me. But apparently it's quite bizarre because it is, what if Godzilla attacked during the story of The Great Gatsby in 1922? It's Godzilla meets The Great Gatsby.
Oh no!
I gotta check it out, so I'll end up having to at least get it
holy
electronically
crap.
or something. But
Yeah, that's like, what if Godzilla stomped on an Algonquin hotel while the 10 were there?
yeah, well, that the T.J. Uckelberg sign with the glasses. That's got to be like Godzilla's got to be a stand-in for Dr. Eckelberg watching all the things going on.
Does Godzilla introduce the stories, or is he just starring in them all?
It looks like he's in them. He's in the story. So I think a 3-issue series.
maybe he is the Gatsby.
Maybe he
Ooh.
is. They said the first
Ooh.
part tells the backstory of Jay Gatsby, so that would make me think that. Oh yeah, look at that!
Ooh, isn't he cute?
Nice.
Ooh.
There's another book you can get with it, and they have an amazing Norman Rockwell styled cover to it of Krampus.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah, it looked really interesting. I mean, it comes out next Halloween, of course, but yeah, that
Oh,
right
wow.
there.
I love that Krampus.
oh.
The Saturday Evening Post type style.
Yeah.
Very Rockwell Saturday Evening Post. Oh my goodness, I love that.
Me
I think I used
too.
to date a guy who looked like that.
Like
Minus the
Sam or
horns.
Krampus? Which one?
Yeah, exactly.
Krampus, just minus the horns.
And I don't think the
Ooh.
pricing didn't look horrible for it being, I believe, 120 pages.
Oh,
Okay.
And I think you can get it digitally for $15 or something like that.
Yeah, the digital bundle is 15.
Yeah.
Digital bundle is 15. If you want the digital with Krampus, is 20.
Ooh.
The double
that's-
trouble is $60.
That's what mommy needs. She needs a Krampus. Do I get a Krampus baby, or can you be all the Krampus that I need? What do you think? How's the washer and dryer holding up?
Yeah, they're holding up. It's just a matter of just trying to figure out what was done, what wasn't done, and now I'm up here just making certain that everything gets done now.
Mm. Well, I'll tell you what I tell everybody, Joe. They'll come to me, ask, because I work in the appliance field. What should I get? I said, do not buy LG. Do not buy Samsung. They're pretty, but if they break down, you lose a part, you might never get it fixed. GE is still a good brand, even though it's no longer owned by General Electric. It's owned by Haier of China.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yep, they bought the GE, sold off the GE appliances to Haier. So it's a Chinese company that owns it now. Frigidaire, or well, actually, the company's actually Electrolux, but they still put a Frigidaire on their appliances. They're they're somewhere in the Northern Europe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Which explains the prices.
Yeah, and their stuff just doesn't last. I would still recommend Whirlpool and Maytag. I mean, they're one company now. Maytag sold out to Whirlpool about 10 years ago. Oh, no, shoot. It's been about 20.
But those GE Cafe,
Oh, they're pretty.
They're so pretty.
All the Samsungs and LGs are pretty, but the more stuff that is on your washer, dryer, oven, refrigerator, the more stuff's going to break.
I just need a fridge to look nice and be a fridge.
Mm.
You know. And now that I found out that they now make wraps, they're called. It's they're those magnetic papers that you put on your fridges and dishwashers and stuff, and you can switch out the handles. It's like, ooh, I can customize my fridge.
Hmm.
You know.
My
Yeah.
mind don't need my mind don't need that right now. The imagination just wondered. It's like, okay, magnetic paper customization.
It's
Man,
basically peel and stick wallpaper, but you because the renters, it's become a big thing among renters. A lot of renters were doing peel and stick wallpaper on their fridges and stuff. And
That makes
so
sense. Yeah.
there are companies that are now doing specifically for appliances, so they come off easier, they don't leave residue and stuff. But you can, my favorite one on Pinterest, it looks like stone, and then they got these gorgeous brass handles,
Nice.
you know, so it's like this gorgeous.
The only thing I was thinking about is like, oh, if you could customize it like that, think about it. What if you had the capability of doing your own design and then be like exhibit with cribs?
Mm.
There are peel and stick companies that you can send design work, and it'll cost you a little bit, but they will make the paper. I saw a woman do a washer dry, and she found this gorgeous African print and put them on. She had front loading washer and dryer, and so put it on there. It was just absolutely like, oh wow.
Thank
That's
you,
like,
Parallax. Sent me a digital copy link of
Oh,
Masterpiece.
oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you. Well,
Yay.
I may just have to review that next time we have a show. Probably we were just talking before the show. We probably won't be here next week because I won't be anyway because I got kids that come around trick or treating.
Mhm.
I'm going to
And
be
next
running.
Thursday is Halloween.
That's
Yep.
right.
I don't know. I might, I don't know, paint myself and my clothing red and run around the neighborhood with my my sword going, "Ah,
Yeah,
watch
people will
all
leave
the,
you alone. Yeah, people
watch
will
all
leave you
the
alone
thug boys
until the
have heart
first cop sees you.
attacks.
Yeah, people will leave you alone until the first cop sees you.
Sweetie,
It's
this is South Shore. How often do you think cops just come cruising down our streets?
it's Spring Hill Jacqueline.
Well, it
Run.
depends on how far you're running. That's what I would just say. It depends on how far you're running.
You know,
You might
I
have too much fun. You run all the way to like South Shore and get too far north and be like, oh, spaghettios.
so long as I don't go past 67th, I should be fine.
Yeah.
You know, I
Mhm.
could get all the way to like Stony and 65th and
Yeah,
be okay.
you'll be fine around there. But if you get to, I would say if you get to
Midway
anywhere
Plaisance.
close to 63rd,
Oh no.
yeah, it'd be like first cop. It'd be like, they're not
I might
playing
as well
that.
just put a like bullseye on my chest going, fire here, thank you.
Hmm. We were talking about shows earlier. The Penguin continues to just be.
Whew.
It should, if there's any kind of real justice in show business at all, it should come home with a pickup truck full of Emmys.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
I got reminded just how good Colin Farrell is. I was watching a reaction video to Phone Booth,
Yeah.
which is a movie he did with the great he and the great Kiefer Sutherland.
Mhm.
And it was prime, and Forrest Whitaker was also there. He played the detective who was in charge of the cops, but most of the movie was just these two, you know, and how that dynamic between them shifted and changed and whatnot. And it was like, Yeah, he is. You know, because right up until then, it was like, oh, he's that pretty faced Irish guy, and then it was like, no, I can act. You know,
Oh yeah.
I can hold the camera.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the rest of the cast is, I mean, everybody on that show is just more than pulling their weight. You know,
Yeah,
it's quite a good ensemble that they have assembled. Which my only fear is that if it's successful enough that they try to do a second season, depending on how it ends. I saw a thing today about how they think a lot of the setup is going to be to make the Batman movie, kind of set up the everything for it. But if they try to make a second one, I'm afraid they'll get Lady Gaga to play Sophia Falcone. I have a lot of dancing and singing in it, but
oh no.
Warner's track record would just bear that out.
Penguin is the new Sopranos.
Yep.
It needs all the Emmys.
Agreed. Absolutely. And, you know, I am one of the hardest people to convince about, hey, we're doing a movie about a villain. Because, you know, that Craven the Hunter worked out so well for us. And
Did that
Morbius was
actually
so
see the
good.
light of day? Because
I
I've.
don't know.
It comes out this year. I think next month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Morbius,
It will be out.
Morbius worked so well for us. You know, we want to follow
my
that.
my youngest birthday is next month, and Red One his birthday is the 16th. Red One opens on the 15th, and he actually came in my room and said, "I have to check something out on my YouTube." And after it played and I had seen the trailer already, but he played me the trailer and goes, "Go see that." It's like, oh, God, you want to go see this for your birthday? Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my money next month will be split between Thanksgiving and the movies.
Mm-hmm.
See, Craven
Ah,
Hunter is December 13th.
is that a Friday?
Ah,
If that's a Friday, that movie's not going to do well.
That movie's not going to do well regardless.
yeah, it could be Christmas Day. It's just not good.
It could be free and probably not do good.
Craven, of all the Spider-Man villains, I was just so not into Craven because it just, it was, I as a kid reading it, it was like, why? He hasn't done anything to you. Why do you want it's a person under under the mask and the costume. It's just a person.
It was a take on the most dangerous game with a supervillain.
Mm-hmm.
But then it went on from there, and there have been some good Craven storylines, but overall,
yeah. Well, what they made him into now is made Craven interesting.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like his backstory, and he's really not a bad guy. He's just misunderstood, and this is who he really is.
No, he was that good at hunting, and he's like, you know what? I want the extra edge, so I'm going to experiment on myself and gain like all these different powers of all these different animals. Now that's how they wrote him in the books.
Because he got bit by a radioactive lion.
He actually has superpowers now. But Craven actually has superpowers now.
In the movie,
originally he did not.
Yeah, in the movie,
now
he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be raised as a hunter or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's in other words, instead of him being an adult hunter, this in the movie, if I remember what I saw of the trailer, because I only saw a couple of teaser trailers, this is supposed to go back to his childhood, and he is supposed to have been like a hunter raised by hunters. Blah blah blah, and it's like it's in their blood or something like that. It's like, okay.
In a way, it feels like they crossed Craven with the tarantula. That's what it feel like.
Oh, okay.
Because you remember the tarantula actually had a form of spider venom injected into him to give him his agility and all this other stuff. So they kind of took that aspect of the tarantula and gave it to Craven in modern day.
But whenever I would see Craven, a movie I'd seen before I read my first Craven story that had come out on TV was called The Naked Prey. And Clyde probably remembers the movie. Some poor
Vague.
guy
Yeah. Yeah.
in Africa, they're hunting him. And he's running through Africa with no clothes on. He's like bare butt naked. And these Africans are like coming to kill him. And he's got I forgot what he did that I keep forgetting what he did that made them want to hunt him. I keep forgetting what the sin was he committed, because I don't think they just snatched him out of somewhere. I think he did something or was part of something, and this was supposed to be a punishment.
It's a payback story.
Yeah, and he's got to go through the chasing the little bird. I forget what it's called, but there's a little bird that it nests in the ground, and he's got to chase these little birds to get food. That was funny, because like I think 9-10-year-old Elaine is my mom's watching it late night on CBS, and I'm kind of in my bed watching it because I could see the TV.
I had never seen I saw the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but I had never seen the 1978, I think, version of it.
With Leonard Nimoy and Donald
Brooke Adams and Donald Sutherland, and
that was.
I've seen clips, but I've never seen the whole thing. So the other night I sat down and I was on Tubi looking for something else, and I was like, it's the Halloween season. I should watch some of these things I haven't seen before or not in a long time. And I turned that on, and it's a really nice slice of 1970s kind of. Well, the original one was a lot of the fears of communism and the enemy amongst you kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And the update in the 70s has all the, therapists and everybody's
paranoia and
the distrust in government and everything is because of the Nixon.
Yeah, that's right. That came out shortly, a little after Watergate.
Yeah. So it was very interesting. It's very well acted, but it is I'd forgotten how the 1970s were until I saw it.
Hey, but it featured a cameo from dude from the original film. Remember, he has a cameo.
He plays a great part. Yeah,
he has a cameo,
short, but it's a great part. Kevin McCarthy was right there, buddy. Yeah.
And let us not forget the dog face boy.
Or
the boy face dog.
That's the clip that got me the first time I ever saw that. I'm like, what in the hell is this? It's
very stomach churning the first time you see it, because it's like, ew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I always think when they remade The Thing, they saw that movie first and thought, oh, we can make something sicker than that. We can out sick that.
Mission accomplished.
You gotta be effing kidding me. Excuse me while my head goes crawling around the room.
Mm-hmm. And the dog in that one, becomes a very unsettling kind of creature.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Oh my goodness, the dog. Poor puppers. And poor all the other puppers.
Mm-hmm.
I had friends, we were betting at what point did Wilford Brimley get infected? Because we were like, okay, yeah, he was wearing gloves when he did the autopsy, but you can see where he's got blood on the gloves only go so far on his hands, and you can see like there's bits of blood on his arm and stuff. And it's like, okay, that's probably when it happened. When he was doing the autopsy, he may have gotten a bit of blood on him, and it's small enough so that the takeover wouldn't have been like the first guy he grabbed.
I blame a few blood drops in his oatmeal.
His Quaker hey, come on, he loved his oatmeal.
I know. So it gave him both diabetes and also aliens. So yeah.
It made him look 60 years older than he actually was.
That's he loved his Werther's originals.
Poor Wilford. I didn't know him, Horatio.
Yeah, he loved his Werther's originals. That's what I do know.
Yes, he loved his Werther's originals. He was also really happy in swimming pools.
Yes. Actually, I ran across an interesting clip about the movie Cocoon.
Oh,
Have
okay.
you seen the movie Cocoon lately?
Not
No.
lately.
Why? It's it came out the same year as Back to the Future, and actually, critics liked it better than Back to the
Oh.
I
Future. It
I
was quite
actually
good.
I saw Cocoon in the theaters. I
Mhm.
didn't see Back to the Future until it came on TV.
Right,
But I
but
saw Cocoon in the theaters and I loved it. But that was also
yeah,
because I was I kind of had the hots for what's his name? The big guy who Brian Hennessy. Because he was the bad guy in Silverado.
um,
I'm still tempted about the so-called family drama that he was in called Our Family.
hmm,
If people
Wilford
don't remember
Brimley
that,
or
if people
Brian
don't remember
Hennessy?
that NBC TV series that Wilford Brimley was a part of, that was the beginning of Shannon Doherty's career because she was the granddaughter in that one
That was
before
before she did
90210.
90210 and got it suddenly got the reputation as being really difficult to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Clyde, is it not available to watch or stream?
um, okay.
Is it owned
So,
by Harvey Weinstein like Dogma is? But Dogma, Kevin Smith just got Dogma back.
oh, that's
Oh,
good.
he did. Oh,
Yes, he
cool.
did.
Yeah,
Just
that's
like
good.
a week or two ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Um,
then I will be watching that because that was a fun, silly kind of romp. Let's cut our wings off. I see every time I see that scene, I see the scene in Scream where the two crazy boys are stabbing each other.
Super out of
well,
print on it. Wow.
the thing about Cocoon is that um, there was a guy that had just completed a musical score for a movie, and he was cost effective, but he was up and coming, and he'd made a name for himself, and they wanted to get him his hot music talent named James Horner,
Oh,
and they wanted to get him for the score for the movie. So, and he was kind of in that transitional phase between being a struggling actor, a struggling composer, and having made it. So when they came at him with this big contract and all, he went to a legal firm and had them hash out an agreement. And whatever they hashed out is one where reproduction of the movie with the musical score is they got to jump through a lot of hoops and pay a lot of money
oh, because of his copyright.
because of the contract for the music that was imposed on it by this weird company. And so it came out a few times. It was released in certain ways, but I think from what I gathered, it was so expensive that it was hard to recoup any kind of a profit on
Oh
releasing it in any
wow.
way. So they just stopped releasing it, and now Disney owns it because it was a Fox property and they bought
Yeah.
the Fox stuff. And when somebody said, "Well, now that you have this movie Cocoon, there's a whole generation and a half that have never seen it
Mhm.
because it's just not around. So we would love to see it." And Disney was like, "Oh, it's got the musical rights. No, we're not doing that.
No.
We're
Yeah,
not paying
Disney's
it."
like if the only people who get to make crazy things about rights and stuff is us.
But I
We
had
don't get
never,
it.
I had not thought about that. And Brian Dennehy,
Denny.
that's a great role for him in that movie. I had seen, um, the first Rambo movie, and so I knew his work. But it's a great film, and it's just a shame that a lot of younger people have not ever got to see it because the music is so difficult to get the rights to.
Mm.
So,
I first saw Dennehy in Silverado.
yeah.
And
And
it
don't
was
forget about Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
oh that's
He's the
the guy's
dad.
name?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yep.
I thought he was the coolest thing. I actually wrote a Western. Thanks to Silverado, I decided to write a Western satire
Mhm.
called Woman Named Quando, because I had a friend who we were living in a Puerto Rican neighborhood, and her name was Gwendolyn, and we all called her Gwen. But there are a lot of Puerto Ricans, especially those who had come from the island. And instead of calling her Gwen, they were going Gwen.
Mhm.
So it sounded like they were saying when. And she and I had gone to see Silverado, and I said, I'm gonna write you a Western. We'll call it a woman named Quando and her sidekick Donde Está. And
Hmm.
it had all sorts of wild, crazy stuff in it. I'm actually thinking of redoing it
Mhm.
because it'd be interesting to write it as a graphic novel.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Two women whose lives aren't turning out quite the way they want to decide to sit and write the script of this idea. After watching Silverado on TV, they didn't decide that they're going to, write this great feminist crazy Western. And it turns out to be a hit. And it'll intersperse between their lives and, of course, the story of the Western.
Mhm. Mhm. Sounds fun.
I'm hoping that it will be, but it's what I've got to get this project. I'm 10 and a half pages away from the story of book one being story pages being done.
Yay!
So
I said,
I'm getting to those pages that are and it's so funny because you think, oh, this will be easy to do. And then you start doing it, and it's like, oh, wait, no, that didn't work. Now I gotta read, those poses aren't dynamic enough. Or, oh, when I took this page and put it in the new file because of the DPI was like 72 when I first started the idea for this. And now, trying to expand it to fit the 300 DPI, I get a lot of pixelation. It's like, oh, I have got to redo a lot of stuff.
hmm.
They're not creepy, Leah. They just really love Clyde. Clyde, you've got a fan club.
Oh, cool.
Beanie and
Yay!
Lils are like, they are your total fan club.
Well, it's nice to have a fan club, especially younger fans. That's quite a compliment for old guys like me.
I'll be in your fan club. Send me a lollipop. Yeah.
Uh,
Good decoder ring.
yeah.
A
Ooh.
Clyde the Coda ring. That's scary.
Just don't make it say drink more Ovaltine.
Stranger things have happened.
Oh. Yeah. Do you guys have a list of movies that you're watching for spooky season?
No.
No, it's usually whatever I just find on.
Oh man,
There's certain requirements. I gotta watch at least one time. I gotta watch Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
that's
I
on
watched that a couple
Amazon.
weeks ago.
Um, I like to try to sample some of the newer things. So that was the whole Late Night with the Devil thing. That was one of the newer ones. Um, what was the other one I watched the other night? But usually I try to get caught up on those. But also Trick or Treat is one that I watch just about every year, along with Monster Squad.
Mm.
Those are kind of the standbys for me. And
My-
a lot of times Silver Bullet too.
Silver
I,
Bullet's good. Yep.
I gotta find it. Right now, I just added to my Amazon list Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein because that's on Amazon. So I'm gonna watch that with my youngest
Mhm.
because he loves the Abbott and Costello meets the classic monsters. So that one I found. They also have Dracula. They have Howl. They have Dog Soldiers. I found a lot of werewolf movies, so I will be howling and driving everybody in the house crazy. Yeah, I
watched-
love it when I run around the house howling, don't you?
Mhm.
Courtney's
I
just
watched
shaking her head.
I watched the preview to the Wolfman movie, the new one.
I
Same director as the last Invisible Man movie.
okay.
So got some chops and everything, but I don't know. It looks boring to me. It's got a good cast and everything. It's just I don't know. It just doesn't grab me.
It's kind of a story we've seen before. Guy gets, yeah, he's trapped in a cabin with his wife and kid. So there's that, but it's it's kind of the horror version of it's like if Lifeline
Hmm.
did a horror film. It's just the Woman in Jeopardy movie of the week.
Yeah.
Finding
and well, it should be too. It's a good movie.
if Wolfman comes out where I can get it on Amazon without having to pay extra, I will probably watch it just to see.
Mhm.
There is a great werewolf movie. It's an Australian film, and I can never remember the title, but it's one of these. It's a kind of there's a family that gathers. Things aren't the best between the siblings and the dad, and then um, as they're dealing with that, it turns out there's something in the house, and it's not friendly, but it it has and you gotta love the Australians. One of the guys brings his girlfriend, and they now realize there's something in the house that's killing people. She's got a rifle. She's talking about, and I'm not going to do the Australian accent because I can't. But she's talking about how this thing isn't going to get her, and they hear it downstairs, and she slips and falls and shoots herself in the head. It's it's like, yeah, the wolf ain't got to get you, girl. You just go kill yourself.
I feel like I might watch that.
It's hilarious. That scene is especially since one of the brothers, when she does it, a couple of people like, oh my god, and he just bust out laughing because when you think it is just funny as all get out. It's like you're worried about defending yourself from the wolf, and yet you're the biggest danger in the room right now. And you don't know it, and by the time you realize it, it's already too late.
Too late. Two other movies that I a lot of times watch. I haven't watched them yet this year, but I may in the next week. Creep Show.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah.
Always a
Creep
good
Show's
one.
And what was the other one?
Cat's Eye?
Fright Night and Cats.
Right.
I
The
haven't watched
original
Cat's Eye
or the remake?
of what? Oh, Fright Night, the original one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am currently
Oh, I gotta go.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
well, good
See
luck.
y'all in 2 weeks.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Go do the time warp again.
let's do the time warp again. I want to see Night of the Creeps. I don't know. Have you ever seen Night of the
I've
Creeps?
never seen that. I've seen clips of it.
It's
Parts of it.
it's one of those films like the first Scream that was not just done for the woo, but also it's got some great funny moments in it.
Mhm, mhm.
So it's done with kind of it's definitely a good horror film. These weird organisms invade a small town. I forgot if they got out of a lab or something, but they end up in a small town and they start infecting people, and they can reanimate dead matter
Mhm.
and make them kind of zombie-ish. And one of the favorite lines is the detective who's been investigating all this weirdness that's going on in the town is in the gym with a bunch of teenage girls who are waiting for the boyfriends to arrive. The bus pulls up, the guys start falling out, and the guy pull, they hear the stuff outside. So he opens the curtains a look and he closes, comes, goes, girls, your dates are here. Good news, your dates are ahead. Bad news, they're dead. So,
Okay.
it's just one
Yeah.
of these it was one of those 80s you've probably seen about 1.5 million movies, because back then this was following the Freddy's and stuff,
Oh
and
yeah.
the whole point of the nightmare movies is, in certain lights, it's also something of a satire, especially towards the later films, because it's just about how's he doing the kills and what snarky lines he can come up with for the kills. There really isn't much, they have just the barest framework of a story, and then it's just like, okay, who's gonna, friends would get together and go like, okay, who's gonna die in what order and what way?
Mhm.
And the loser at the night had to drink all the beer.
Two films I should watch. I haven't watched them in a while, but they used to be. I watched them a lot. Was and this time of year it's good for it. Lost Boys
Lost Boys is
is
good.
good. And I'm probably the only person on the planet, or one of 3 people on the planet that really enjoyed Halloween 3: The Season of the Witch. So, in fact, our little intro tonight, the write up that I put out was, happy Halloween, happy Halloween, Silver
I
Shamrock.
thought that was,
Yeah,
yeah, I thought
Silver
that was, yeah.
Shamrock. Watch the Magic Pumpkin.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Everybody else was upset that it didn't have Michael Myers in it, except as a clip on TV.
The-
But
the-
I liked it. I thought it was
I
this
thought it would have been a better film if they had called it something other than, if
Sure.
they had just called it Season of the Witch.
Season
If
of
they
the
had
Witch.
just
Yep.
not called it Halloween, but just
Yep,
called
I
it
agree.
Season of the Witch, I think it would have been, because the idea of the movie was really good.
Mhm.
But
what?
go
I just
go
wanted to
check
know
your,
more about why the whole thing about Stonehenge towards the end that was never explained.
okay.
That's a weird point. Yeah, I get
Okay,
that.
yeah, we'll give you that. We'll give you
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
up to that point, you had a
Mhm.
decent.
How that
Yeah.
works, I
I'll
never.
give it to you because everything fit until they explain what actually was causing people to change, and it's like, oh, we got part of
Somehow it's all
Stonehenge there.
related
It's
to
like, what the world
Stonehenge.
is going on here? Why they carving into Stonehenge and taking stones out of Stonehenge to put them in the little bitty circuitry on the map?
Mhm.
Which is funny because even back then, the British government, unless you had a lot of money, wouldn't let you get within 10 feet of Stonehenge. you know, and
Well,
definitely Stonehenge is one of those places where you can't take anything from the site. You can't take
except
anything you don't bring in with you. You're not.
Cochrane had and his cult had connections, all levels of government. It was this big
Yeah.
conspiracy theory kind of a thing. So that could be worked around, but how it actually worked was dicey.
But
Or
also somebody in England, because it is a World Heritage, it's a UNESCO World Heritage site and all of that. They tend to, on a regular basis, check and make sure that the site has not been damaged in any way.
yeah.
Um,
By
and
the time they
so,
would have discovered it, it would have been too late.
but but what I'm saying is, someone should have
Yeah,
discovered it.
right.
It just that's the part of, okay, y'all just let you have never been to England, you've never been to Stonehenge, but you're making a guess.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I don't know.
So,
I just, as a kid growing up with masks, I loved Halloween masks, and those looked kind of like the Don Post masks that they used to sell in the backs of Famous Monsters of Filmland and Creepy and Eerie and stuff. And so I
oh,
just thought it was, it seemed like, and they're pushing it toward all the kids. Here, be sure to
you're
be sure
gonna
to
love
touch
this
our
mask.
people. Yeah, be sure to watch our special presentation and be sure to wear your masks.
Are you gonna wear your mask, Vexalia? No, and I'm Vex. I'm Vex. Okay. Are you gonna wear your mask, Vexalia? No, I'm Vaxodan. Oh, sorry.
I saw where somebody's getting like they're making reproductions of the witch and the pumpkin and the skeleton masks from the movie, trying to make them as screen accurate as possible, and getting ready to. They'll probably be very expensive, but it's a little
Yeah.
company making them. So
Okay, so it's not what's her name that make the big money items for the different movies and stuff.
I had never heard of them before, but it could be. I'm not sure, but they were talking about. I saw them with. They were showing off their kind of like their prototype models in a little ad, and they said, they should be ready by Christmas of shipping for Christmas. And I'm like, again, could they not have sped this up a little bit and get this done early for
Yes, like
this season?
Halloween. If nothing else, let me put them on the door.
See, my mom used to be like, no monsters for Christmas. That just felt wrong to her. So any kind of monster stuff that I got, I had to get for my birthday or for
Oh, okay.
something like that. So every time somebody says, this monster thing is coming out for Christmas, it just hits me wrong every time. I'm like, no, that can't be. I'd have to wait.
Well,
Why
at
do I
least
have the picture of Clyde doing the whole Dracula? They're coming out for Christmas.
Well, I can't blame her. She just felt like having unholy creatures under the tree as a present was. I mean, look, she would if she could see some of the Hallmark ornaments now that
oh,
are horror oriented, she would just not be happy at all. So, but
I wasn't allowed horror anything as a kid.
really,
I could get creepy. I could if I spent my own money, get the occasional issues of like creepy and eerie.
uh-huh.
But like if I was gonna do like Halloween, I couldn't dress up as like Wolfman or a zombie or something like that. It was
Right.
just, you know, I don't know why my mother thought I should be Barbie or it's like I didn't want to be Barbie. For one thing, Barbie was blonde. I wanted to be Red Sonja.
There you go. Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not running around in a steel bikini. But
Well,
I wanted to be like Wonder Woman or Red Sonja or Black Canary, something. I wanted to be like Action Girl,
yeah.
get up there and beat one of the fighter chicks. And my mother was like, really? No, I don't think so. You're
See,
going to
now you
be the
gave me an
princess.
idea. You gave me an idea, but Mattel would probably sue me for it.
Okay.
And that would be MMA Barbie.
I'm surprised if they do. I bet you if they do a Barbie movie too, there will be an MMA Barbie.
Hmm.
There probably will be an MMA Barbie. That would be fun to see.
That would be
Mhm.
cool. Yeah.
I
MMA
mean,
Barbie
that one,
with
that one.
kickboxer Ken.
No, no, I don't even Ken out of this, but MMA Barbie, a GI Jane Barbie with the kung fu grip.
There you go. There you go.
That's like Mattel. Mattel was like, if they gave me the reins, it's like, well, Barbie is too soft. It's like, well, think about all the different careers that she could have had that are, more action driven.
Hey, assassin Barbie with a sniper scope.
Cyborg Barbie.
Cyborg, there's a lot of Barbies that could have been there. Oh my goodness, when you think about the Barbies that could have been.
MI6 Barbie.
Hello.
Mhm, mhm.
She comes
But-
with her
but
own
no.
hacking gear.
But no, you have to be stuck with veterinarian Barbie or prom Barbie.
Well,
Or you could go the collectible routes, which give them a wider range. Like my wife collected the She's got the Addams Family Barbie and Ken. She's got the Star Trek Barbie and Ken. She's got the X-Files Barbie and Ken. We missed the Munsters Barbie and Ken, and those are expensive to go back and get. But maybe
And
one.
also, Barbie, it was the whole point of trying to give little girls things to aspire to besides being a mommy and a housewife.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, Barbie can be a teacher. Barbie can be a lawyer. Barbie
That's
can
Miss
be a
Miss
doctor.
Olympia Barbie. Why not
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Because Miss Olympia Barbie with the pointy feet would not have worked. No, which is funny since they had an astronaut Barbie, and it's like, okay, how does she fit in the moon boots with those? But they did for a while try to do the flat-footed, the more
Yeah.
reasonable Barbie, and I don't know if it was little girls or their moms that threw the biggest
That's not
fit.
Barbie. That's not my Barbie.
That's not my Barbie.
Mhm,
It's like, that's okay. It's not your planet anymore either. Just let the little girls have their Barbies. But,
Yeah.
so many people wrote in, that's not my Barbie.com. They went back to the pointy shoes. And the thing is the most of those Barbie shoes didn't fit correctly.
Mhm.
You would get them on and you put her on the stand and at least one of the shoes would fall off.
Yeah.
And the early shoes were this really soft rubber. So the heels, she would have stiletto heels that you couldn't stand her up on. You had to be careful how she was in the stand because the heels would start buckling underneath her.
And Joe, you can say all you want about Kung Fu Grip, but I can tell you right now that the my friends and I that played with the 12-inch GI Joe dolls,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, action figures.
Yeah, that would be the next thing. It would never no longer be a Barbie doll. It'd be a Barbie action figure.
We
That
were
would
very
be my brand of Barbie.
we were
action
very
figure.
tired of trying to get them to hold guns with those stupid hard hands. Yeah. Yeah.
And they did half the time they didn't link
Kung Fu
correctly.
But the Kung Fu Grip, you could hold the gun. That worked better for holding
Uh-huh.
things like guns and tools and things like that they use. So yeah,
I
you'll
wasn't
never
making
know the
fun
struggle.
of having a kung fu grip, but I know that Barbie dolls, their hands were normally like that.
Yeah.
Or the thumb would be curled in such a way where you could put like a microphone or something up in it.
Yeah,
I
usually the hands were straight and it was like it was all digits glued. It
Mhm.
was a form. It was a mold that they poured that in, so the fingers didn't flex or anything like that.
In the 1970s, I found electrical tape of different colors. Blue, red, yellow. So I made because I thought I had one of the Malibu Kens with but he had dark hair, I think, instead of but he had
Oh, when he was still a brunette.
still a brunette, but I made him into a Robin. Now the Robin from like the Earth 2 costume that Robin wore.
Slap action Barbie.
Except her arm only, you had to really swing her to get the slap because her arms didn't originally. The arms
Originally
did
they were
not.
like that.
There was no joints. There was no elbow joints. So you have to hold it like this, and
Now
it's like
they kind of got where they swivel now along this point. But I took a Ken and I took and cut red and yellow and stuff to make him into a the Robin that they gave. The Robin had a temporary costume when they were crossover with the JSA, and the one with the cowl that came up a ways,
Right.
his hair was open and stuff. Well, I took that tape and I cut the tape and made it because it fit very tightly, and he had a good physique and all. But
Ooh.
then, it's like, okay, now he's with my other action figures to play, and I had Captain Action Superman, so part of a Captain Action Batman. So I had him running around with Batman, but he had a Robin that was like, absolutely no,
He could do the monk, but he could do the monkey.
I guess.
You know, you could
But
do
it was like I worked so
Batman would
hard
be
on
doing
it.
the Bat Tootsie, and he would be doing the monkey.
I worked so hard, and Captain Action, Batman, or Superman, or any of the other superheroes were like, looking good. And here's Robin over here going,
But hey, I was
"There's a
saying,
reason you're back up, man. Get back there, sidekick."
but hey, otherwise, what would Eddie Murphy been able to say? What's that movie where Trading Places that Eddie Murphy would have never been able to give that classic line in Trading Places, about the kid not getting his GI, not making enough money on trades. That means kids doesn't get GI Joe with Kung Fu grip, and Daddy doesn't get no sex that night. so Eddie said it a little differently. I'm trying to be I'm trying to be,
Right.
family friendly.
Right.
Cease and desist. Did we ruin your idea, Joey? We're sorry.
No, no. I mean, I just know that Mattel would not like me if I had my way,
Oh,
because
Mattel.
there's so much other stuff that Barbie could be doing.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
Very
like
true.
Librarian Barbie, but girls do have their wild side.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, I'm not talking about like the way out stuff, but stuff that's positive, like
I
MMA
want to
fighter
see.
Barbie.
I
That
want to see goth Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
want to
think
see
I think
space
they
pirate
did some
Barbie.
custom ones like that.
I want to see space pirate Barbie. I want to see goth Barbie. You know,
You
and
want you want to see Air Force pilot
cyborg.
Barbie.
You
You want to
know,
see Air Force pilot Barbie, or
I want to see fighter pilot.
Navy navigator Barbie. You know, those are the types of things that should be there. Not it's like we barely got astronaut Barbie. And it's like, okay, fine,
Space
that's getting more.
pirate Barbie. Space pirate Barbie.
See, I kept thinking maybe I've missed it. Maybe they've had them and I've missed it. But there for a while, they did a lot of DC characters as Barbie.
Yeah, they
They
did. They
had
did a Wonder Woman Barbie and a couple
Wonder
of other
Woman,
ones.
Batgirl,
Hmm.
and they did a
Ooh.
Supergirl. And they were not, they had very fancy versions of them. But then they had some just regular versions that were not as expensive that girls could play with. Some were kind of to put up and look nice, but others were very playable and not very expensive. And I always thought, where's Marvel in all this? Where's our Carol Danvers Captain Marvel Barbie?
Did they do one? I think
I
they
don't
did one.
know. Did they? Okay.
Well,
I think
Carol
they did
Danvers
one.
was Ms. Marvel. She wasn't Captain Marvel. She was Ms. Marvel.
Well, I know, but this wouldn't have
Monica
been.
Rambeau. Now that would have been a
That
great
would have been cool too. They could
Captain
have been both of them.
Marvel.
So
Yeah.
there was
You
a
know.
Harley Davidson Barbie,
Hmm.
Okay,
pink
never
label $20 version, and they did a Mary Jane and wedding dress. Yeah, so I
Oh
could have sworn that
wow.
Oh,
Marvel.
okay.
I could
Okay.
I could have sworn that Marvel did a couple.
Okay. I hadn't. I wasn't into the action figures and that part of the toy. Well, for a while there, my daughter liked Barbie, so I was kind of tuned into what they were doing. But then when she graduated on up to being a nurse and only having her Barbies from when she was a little kid, I kind of lost track. But I remember at the time thinking, the DC's doing all this. Where's the Marvel stuff? And then after the
And
MCU came
and the
along,
Sue
for sure.
Storm.
I
Oh, okay.
remember when Barbie's first dream house was like $25.
Mhm.
And that was considered the one
A
from the
lot.
1950s. That was the mid-century modern one. And it was cardboard.
Hmm. Hmm.
The cardboard one where it came in the box and you flipped up the walls and things like that and had the parts that you put in. That was considered pretty hefty price to pay. I think it was like $25 for the Barbie, the first Barbie dream house. And then she got, what was it? I think they started to go considerably up in price by the time Malibu Barbie got her beach house. And then she got, I can't remember if she got the penthouse before the beach house. I used to make up these stories about Barbie in my head. It was like, you know what it is? Barbie's like Elizabeth Taylor. She keeps marrying a bunch of rich guys and getting really great divorce settlements, which is why she's got the Malibu beach house and the New York penthouse. And then she's got the she had the custom van, because
Mhm.
she had two vehicles. She had the custom van, and then she had the trailer. She had the
Hmm.
super trailer and the custom van. And
Mhm.
the beach van was so that she and Piper and Ken and those guys could have something to drive with to Malibu.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know? And then she decided she wanted the beach house. You know, because it was like, but as kids, it never occurs to you, okay, what is Barbie doing where she can get a house in Malibu, a New
Mhm.
York penthouse?
Mhm.
She also had she had a Corvette.
Mhm. She did.
She
Yeah.
had the pink Corvette, Stingray. But the thing is, Barbie wasn't pink until around the 80s. Late
Mhm.
80s, early 90s was then suddenly Barbie was pink.
Hey,
Before then,
hey, for Joe's brand of the Barbie characters to fit in with his updated and modern version, you could have the OnlyFans Barbie. That would explain a lot of funding for her.
oh no, it's just where a lot of people just they send them silly pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Um, you might like, I don't know if you ever seen Team Four Star?
seen what?
Team Four Star. They do like they satirize a lot of
Oh,
anime.
okay.
So they did the original Dragon Ball series. They did the like I said, my oldest turned me on the Helsing Ultimate because he knew I loved the original Helsing Ultimate. And
Mhm.
I was buying the episodes $9 an
Ooh.
episode from Voodoo. And then I only got as far as I think five. And then they quit off because I didn't have like $9 every month. I had kids to, people I gotta raise and feed and bills to pay. So it
Mhm.
was like every few months I would get like $9 and get an episode.
Mhm.
And just when I was getting ready to get another episode, they were like, oh, guess what? We don't have these available anymore. You can have the episode you paid for, but the rest of this, you got to look elsewhere for it. So it's
Yeah.
like, I don't have the complete series, which
Mm.
made me very sad because I love the Helsing Ultimate series.
Mhm.
I also love the Helsing series. It's one of those it takes a monster to hunt and kill a monster. And
Ah.
so the Helsing organization has Alucard, which is of course Dracula spelled
Mm.
backwards.
Right.
But that's not the only series where they've had a Alucard character. But their Alucard helps the Helsing organization hunt down and destroy vampires and ghouls and things in England. And they were taking it it was one of those situations like, what is it? Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know if you've ever heard of Full Metal Alchemist or Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist, it was based on the manga,
Mhm.
but they caught up with what was already written and they still had a series to produce. So they started just making up stuff. And Helsing did that. They started going beyond what was already written. So by the time the manga was done, people were like, what that person wrote and what you guys did are not the same show. So, they had to come up with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood
Ah,
to
okay.
take it where the actual manga went. And then they came up with Helsing Ultimate.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. Leia sent something. Ah, okay. So
That's
to
cool.
be, yeah,
Yeah,
but she
that's an
looks
actual Barbie. That's an actual Barbie. It has the Barbie labeling on it.
Nice.
There with the
she
Ooh,
looks.
Electra.
Electra? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like the Electra
I've
Barbie.
never seen these. Cool.
Oh, the
Oh, that's
Mary
beautiful.
Jane. I never got the wedding issue. I saw the
All right.
oh my goodness, and they did Storm and they did her
80
justice.
years. So these are
Mhm.
fairly recent, aren't they?
Yep. Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Oh wow. And the Phoenix isn't bad.
Hmm.
Yep.
Except that's Dark Phoenix. Oh yeah, it is.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see the dark on the side. Okay, because I'm like, that's Dark
Oh,
Knight.
yeah. Yeah.
Regular Phoenix, it's gold and green. Dark
Hmm.
Phoenix is red and gold. So I'm old, but I can remember that crap.
Very cool. Very cool.
But yeah,
It's
they
like
had to do.
2005 on the first three, and the 80 years are is newer.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice.
I will have to look for that Storm because I love me some Storm, and I just and it's real Storm, not Halle Berry ridiculousness.
Hmm.
You
Mm.
know, I'm just she should have never been Storm.
She
She
should have
should have
never been Selena Kyle either.
Yeah, she should have never been Catwoman. I do not understand this woman's ego where she would not see the work of giants and go, okay, that ain't me.
Hmm?
You know, that ain't me. It's like she was an she was African. Her parents, she grew up in Egypt. She was orphaned, and the way she was orphaned, she was just claustrophobic and Mr. Sinister and all this stuff, and suddenly she's like, I'm Storm from the hood, and I can't, and I'm too precious to put in the eyeballs. It's like, get
Oh, there you go.
Mystique.
Hmm.
Now she didn't have any problem. Miss Moraine, Romaine didn't have any problem with putting in the eyeballs.
Hmm.
She got it. She knew what it took to get in there, and she had to be naked.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, it's like great. She had to run around. Well, okay, girl, she wasn't really naked. She had a lot of makeup on, and it stuck things to her body.
That's why she's number one. Everybody else is number two or lower.
Well,
Hey,
again, I mean, if I got my actresses right, she came a long way for playing Aura Singh.
yeah,
Mhm.
Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Yeah,
She was
the
also
best.
Aura Singh, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, for a teeny tiny bit part from one of the prequels to a role like that.
Mhm.
But she did
She's
such a
actually
good
number one
job.
on Strange New Worlds now. So
I
she's
can't
she's the second in command. So she's number one.
I can't picture anybody else playing that role other than her. It's
Yeah.
like I can't picture anybody being Black Widow other than ScarJo. And she and Romaine Stamos had the best butt in Marvel movies until ScarJo got, Black Widow, and it was like, yep, see this butt? Bye.
Hmm.
That's what we need to have, a Marvel Chickies booty battle.
Hmm.
Then I forgot the actress name that played Monica.
Rambo?
Hmm.
Oh
Uh,
shoots. So have I. I feel really stupid now. Bet you Leon know.
yeah, probably.
She's just sending picture after picture after picture after picture after picture after
I'm glad she
picture.
did though. Those are cool. I'm
Yeah,
glad to
those are really
know that
cool.
they exist.
You
I
Like
know.
the
mean, like
Harleys now. These are the Harley Davidson ones.
Ooh.
I've seen some of those. Now, see, that could be our distributor here too, because we don't get any Migos at Walmart here, and some of those earlier ones that she showed from like 2005, I I was still looking at Barbie stuff on the shelves, and I never saw that. I saw these during that. I imagine a similar era, but I've seen those kind of things out here, but never the Marvel characters.
All she needs is a customized.
And there
I
we go.
Oh, Tayona Paris. Okay. I fell in love with Harley Davidson's after Easy what is it? Easy Rider.
Hmm.
I saw Easy Rider. It was another one of those movies that when it made to broadcast TV, CBS had it on a late night movie.
Uh
And
huh.
my mom was watching it, and I was just like, okay, if I lay here really quiet and don't say anything, I can watch this movie and she won't know.
My mom dropped me off at a night showing one night. She had other stuff going on, and she's like, "I'm taking you to the movies," and she knew I love movies, so she never bothered to see what was playing. And so I was like 8, I think, Easy. It was Easy Rider. I got to watch that one.
Oh no! At 8?
I think so. It was whatever year it came out. What year did it come out? 1970. That would have been
It
8.
was 7. I had to be about 11 or 12 when
Yeah,
Easy
I was confused
Rider.
for a long time about what the heck.
Nicholson on the motorcycle in the football helmet
Yeah.
remains my favorite scene. I just Jack Nicholson on that. It was just I love that. The end of that movie always makes me cry.
They
I
would do these horror, especially around Halloween in the little theater. They would do these horror movie matinees that were free or cheap, and she'd send me to those. And that's where I first saw Hammer. I got to see Hammer horror movies on the big screen, but there were things like Twins of Evil and Vampire Circus, and some of the ones that you're like, okay, those are sort of R-rated for a little kid, but
I was we had Svengoolie on Saturday nights, but sometimes on what was it Sunday afternoons, either Saturday or Sunday afternoons, Channel 32 would have like a horror film. And there were a lot of softcore porn Italian vampire movies that that would be shown on Saturday afternoons
right.
when they couldn't do, because there were only so many Son of Hercules movies that,
Right.
and it took me forever to realize that those movies were actually made more for men than anything. I had to have my aunt explain, Elaine, those are actually that's kind of like softcore gay porn. And,
Oh, Billy.
That's an interesting one.
what?
Ida B. Wells.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
Nice.
Didn't got the hair right.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like for you
I
around
bet
your
you
home.
can't
It
find
was
that one easy.
yeah.
Okay, Leia, who did you kill to get these Barbies?
Oh,
No, she's just finding them on the web. She don't
Oh,
have them. She's just finding the ones that most people probably don't see. Like there's the King Kong one.
oh, is that the Fay Ray or is
Hey
that
Ray,
the?
yep.
Okay,
Hmm.
I was about to say,
yeah.
is that
That's
Fay
the big
Ray or is that the other
poster.
chickies?
And it even
Yep.
comes with the gorilla hand around her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Harryhausen, man. You gotta love Harryhausen.
Harryhausen?
Ray Harryhausen, stop motion
Yeah, but he didn't do
effects.
Kong. That was
Did he?
Miriam
Oh
C.
no,
Webb.
Kong was. Didn't he work? I think he got trained by the guy who did Kong for stop motion. I
He
think
may have studied under him.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
but
he studied under him.
Miriam C. Cooper was
Yeah, I think he studied under Cooper.
but no, he didn't. As far as I know, he didn't actually do any of the animation on Kong. I have to look it up to be sure, but he was like the next gen of it.
He was the next gen, but I
Yeah.
think he studied under Cooper. He may have
Maybe.
worked for him at some time. But yeah,
Maybe.
But remember when Harryhausen used to be considered the epitome of effects
Uh-huh.
before CGI?
Yep.
I think one of my favorites of his was I think he did Valley of the Guanji.
Valley of oh yeah, with the cowboys. Yeah, he did that.
Cowboys versus T-Rex.
Yep.
Especially since they were gauchos. They weren't
Uh-huh.
just cowboys versus T-Rex. They were gauchos.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah, let's see the Mexican cowboys
Well,
try
I
to
guess.
lasso the T-Rex.
I guess for those that are serious, we got this.
Oh, they got the
Walmart has them for $14.99.
Oh, there you go.
Well, Joe, my birthday is February 12th. Oh, there's no way you're going to get that for $1.50.
No, it said earn $1.49.
Oh, okay.
That like it's.
Oh
No, but it's 14.99.
My birthday is February 12th. Joe, you, Clyde, Eric, BKM, get doing, cobble up your pennies,
Hmm?
and then all they need is her and a dominatrix Barbie, or an Elvira Barbie. That would be
I
cool.
think they did a Elvira. Well, they might have. I think they did a version of Elvira Barbie.
You know. Oh, that is so cool. My aunt Julia
Hmm?
um got Barbies. My grandmother bought her Barbies. What I got were these foxy lady dolls, which were like, they were cheap Barbies.
Mhm.
They were the cheaper, but they were disco. They had disco outfits on and whatnot. And I think Barbies, I think were $10 dolls, and these guys were two.
Ah. Remember they made the Lucy dolls with the different um, they had her in the chocolate factory outfit.
Oh, I never got to see
Oh
those.
yeah, they had the classic, the Vita Vita Vegemin,
Oh,
uh,
Vitamita Vegemin, yes. It's
Vitamin
so
Vegemin.
tasty
Yep,
too.
it tastes just like candy. My daughter when she was a early teen. She got into a real Lucy phase. She
Ooh.
watched all the I Love Lucy and even the Lucy show and the follow ups too. And so she started collecting those. But one of them that they didn't have was the episode where she dressed up as Superman.
Oh no.
They had George Reeves
They
guest
had
star,
George Reeves, yes. That
but
one. Did
she
they have
dressed
the
up. Remember,
Martian one?
no, I don't think so.
There's the one where she
Yeah,
and
that's true. And
Vivian Vance are dressed as Martians. It's a
okay,
promo.
yeah,
They
yeah,
get
I
hired
remember
to
that.
do a promo.
Yeah,
You know.
but 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 they never got around to. And the whatever company owns the rights to the Lucy show would, of course, be you have to license it through that, along with Warner Brothers because Superman. So I was like, I'm not surprised that they didn't go that route. But I went and bought one of the Vita Vita Vegemin
Vitamita
figures,
Vegemin.
Vitamita Vegemin figures, and turned it into. I got one of those football helmets from the old uh, gumball machines,
Oh
and I found where somebody had colorized the black and white images of her. So I made an outfit, a Superman outfit, like she was wearing when he is out there saving her from the side of the building. She's got that football
oh.
helmet and the super suit that she's made with like plaid pajamas, plaid underwear for the bottoms and stuff. And
And
so I
he
made
and he
made
makes
her own deal.
he makes when he Reeves, as he's leaving, makes the thing about
They
because he's
call me a
talking to
Superman.
Ricky. Yeah, they call me he's talking about, you deal with her every day.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
call me Superman. So
yeah.
I love those. And then her when they go to LA, when they go to Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
I think those are some of the ones when they go to Hollywood, and then when they go overseas.
Mhm.
And she does the grape stomping. She tries to bring the cheese on board the plane by dressing it up as a baby.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
you know but I always thought it was interesting. I didn't think about it then, and it's interesting the things you focus on when you're older as opposed to when you were younger. um I think about now about Lucy's frustrations because she wanted to be in the show.
Mhm.
But if you think about their backstory, they met supposedly when Lucy was a chorus girl or
Mhm.
something like that. And she had to quit being a chorus girl to become a housewife. And if you think about, and I think it's very smart of them, because if you think about that time, when so many young middle class women were going to Brown and whatnot, and they were basically just high end finishing schools, but these women were going and getting these degrees, but then getting married, and it was like, oh, now that you're married, your career is being my wife. And the guys were marrying them because they wanted this woman who would be smart and impressive, just not too impressive, smart and impressive, but don't overshadow me.
But subservient, because
Yes, and
you
yet
can't outshine,
subservient.
you can't outshine the star of the house here. But
And
you
if
can
you
be.
think, and when I think about Lucy, it's like, okay, now I see she was portraying that frustration for that generation of women.
Yeah.
They got educated, only to then be told, okay, now that you've got this education, you're going to go and be a housewife. Because if you think about the Dick Van Dyke Show, also played along those lines. Laura was a dancer.
Mhm,
They met. He was running the USO show
mhm.
for the base, and she was a dancer at the show, and he broke her foot. They were doing a number. They had to do a number together, and he broke her foot by mistake, but still. But she gave up everything she had in regards to a career and where it could have taken her to be this wife and mother.
Mhm.
And I always thought was really interesting, because you think about the time in which that was made. There's a situation where one of the regular dancers gets sick, and Alan was like, oh wait, isn't your wife a singer dancer? And so she works for like a week or two on the show. And I'm thinking, okay. And at the time I didn't realize it, but it was like, okay, back then, as a head writer of a popular, even a local TV show in New York, he would have made enough where they could have hired somebody to come in and clean the house. And get Richie off the school and get him home and keep the house clean and made dinner. And she could have had a career.
Mhm.
So, but what they do is, it's like she talks about, how she's in so much pain. And I'm like, but that's, and then and at the time I didn't understand it, but after I'd start reading up, it's like, well, that's just what dancers go through.
Mhm.
It's just, there's, being a professional dancer is a life of pain. So,
Mhm.
so it's like, okay, y'all needed an excuse to show that Laura could have had this life on her. And I thought, but at the time I thought was really slick, because Laura could have had a life of her own doing a different thing, but she made this choice, because they were always sort of the dichotomy between Laura and Sally Rogers.
Mhm.
Sally wasn't just a career girl. She wasn't the secretary. She was one of the writers on the show.
Mhm.
One of the three, and it was her job to help make, she was an equal partner in that writing room and everything. And so, and I always thought it was really interesting, because they while on the one hand, yeah, Sally's female, because they had the bows on her hair so you wouldn't forget she was female, but she also had that raspy deep voice.
Mhm.
They had her walking in a more, her presentation was more masculine in
Yep.
many ways than Laura was always super soft and feminine and whatnot, where Sally was more rough and gruff
You didn't
type
see Sally running around in capris, I tell you.
with
No,
ballet
that
flats.
that was true.
You
That's
didn't see
true.
her, she wasn't looking like Audrey Hepburn. No,
Mhm.
Sally didn't look like Audrey Hepburn. But the thing is, I hate to say it, I was actually, as a kid, I was more fond of Sally than I was Laura.
She was like a fun aunt.
And
Yeah.
she was an equal with the men around her.
Mhm.
Sally didn't bow to anyone. She was on an
Laura really
equal
didn't bow
stance.
to anyone either.
Laura
Well,
could stick your
oh, Rob!
No, all of that was an act. if you
But
paid attention to the series, because I remember one episode in particular about how they rarely argue. And it turns out that Rob was always up there, trying to illustrate. It's like everything that comes up is all about communication. And Rob had a tendency to forget a lot of things. And
Laura
that
was
was
what
kind of
kept
like,
the house balanced.
made the balance of power to make it seem like she doesn't always kowtow. It's just more along the lines like, Rob, do this. Everything will be okay. We're just
But it
reminding you
was
to do that.
also, but it was also they. I think after a while though, because there was an episode I forgot something about his manhood or whatever.
Yep.
But they were sitting. They were doing. I always wanted that sort of Petri household life, except I didn't want to live in. I didn't want to live in a suburb. I wanted a penthouse, and I wanted to be brilliant. I wanted a husband who was brilliant and kids who were smart and brilliant. And we had friends over all the time, and we were singing and dancing and doing routines because the early shows featured it was like every other show featured a party that they were throwing at their house, and either Rob or Sally or Buddy and Sally. I still love it when Buddy and Sally would perform together. Though I thought that was just some of the best. But that was one where they were sitting there and they were eating dessert, and Rob was pointing out the difference between him and Laura. He said, and they were having rum cake, and he said, "Laura, what did you put in the cake?" And she said, "Rum." He says, "Did you hear that? Rum." And they're like, "Uh-huh." And he goes, "Guess what I put in the cake?" And they're like, "What?" "Rum." And I'm not saying she kowtowed. How do I? In some ways, Laura was like an outlier. Because if you think about her best friend in the area was Midge, Jerry's wife. And of all the characters on that show, Jerry got on my nerves the most. Because in the first season, there's an episode where Jerry is constantly he's at Rob. And you can tell and as a child, I didn't get it. And I'm older now, and it's like,
Ooh, you made
okay,
me
this
think
is
about
jealous.
episode too.
Every time there was an episode, Jerry would have something negative to say. But he would say it in a way that it would obviously be negative, but he would make it a snide enough. He would frame it in a way that people are like, "Oh, he's just kidding. He doesn't mean it. He's just kidding. He's always like that." But you could see it was getting to Rob, and I'm like, first of all, you are the head writer for the most popular show in your region, and you're making good money. Why do you care what the dentist thinks?
Yeah, the grape.
Lucy.
Yep, grape stomping
Great
Lucy.
See,
stomping Lucy.
you made me think about another Dick Van Dyke show where Laura took over for Rob while he was sick, and she had to deal with Jerry, and that showed me that she never really kowtows to anybody, because eventually Jerry got on her nerves enough where she fought back and made him look silly.
And then after that, they made her look a little. They did a couple where they made her look kind of silly. There was the one where I guess they'd seen a horror show. Or her and Midge had watched some sort of horror movie, and luckily it made Midge look stupider than her. I will say Midge always, but the one that always gets me is the one where Rob gets the package, and Laura can't help not knowing what's in the package. So she's trying to find a way to open the package without making it look like she opened the package. And it turns out that that in the package, because Rob was planning on going on some sort of camping trip with the boys, was one of those rubber rafts where you open a package and inflates itself. And she's inflated this rubber raft on herself, and Rob has to come and rescue her from the rubber raft, which I thought was kind of silly. But I at least appreciated that as she had some silly moments, so did Rob. Like working in the office, there were a couple of nights he was working late by himself in the office, and the guy was he thought he saw the flying saucer.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out he did see a flying saucer, but it was a toy developer that was in the building, was testing out his little thing at night because he figured fewer people
No
in
one
the
was
building,
there.
he was less likely to bother anyone. And I love the last line because he's like, why does it keep going umdiums? Because that's all it would fly around and go umdiums, umdiums, umdiums. He's like, why does it keep going? He goes, oh, I don't know why. It's supposed to say Merry Christmas. And that's how they ended that episode. And he kept doing that line about the last living cell in a dead body. Which is like one of my favorite, Dick Van Dyke lines. Like the oh my goodness, I ate up all the time again.
No. I'm about to say, do we have any reviews? Because we're almost at the 2-hour mark. We got about 15 minutes before we get 2 hours.
Take it away, Clyde.
Quick rundown.
All right.
We're all ears.
Okay. So this week I got Gotcha Man number 4, which I really like. I really like the cover.
Oh yeah.
The back's nice too.
My birthday's February 12th.
Yeah, the back reminds me of the TV show of how they always descend.
Yeah. I kind of thought that it was all part of the same composition, but it's different. But I like them both.
Yeah.
But we're on a mission here. We're getting a real good look at the backup team, and a lot of the things that were elements of their opponents that I never saw in the cartoons. So I don't know. It's got a lot of action, good writing, good character building, and again a little bit more of a mature version of the Battle for the Planets that I am accustomed to. So 4 issues in, I'm still enjoying it a lot. So for the Halloween season, there are a couple here that we had. This is Creep Show number 4. Issue number 2 of Volume 3. Volume 3, Issue 2. And, it's one of those, again, it's 2 stories. The first one is fair, although I'm like, about 3 panels in, I'm like, oh, I wonder if it'll end up like this. Oh, I did. Yeah. But the second story was quite good. The second story had a lot of twists about it that I thought it was kind of like what's the anthology about the Death in the Hood? Is that what it's called? Or Scary in the Hood?
When they did the Hood version of Creep Show.
Creep Show, yeah. It's
they
kind
did
of reminds me of that. It's pretty intense. So
I think it's Stories from the Hood.
Stories from the Hood. That's it. But yeah, so it's $3.99 book. So the first story is a little weak. The second one makes up for it. Again, it's $3.99. So one of the cheaper things on the shelf. If you like Creep Show, you probably would get a kick out of it.
Cool.
But if you want to spend just a $1 more and be really impressed with something that's monsterish and right for this time of season, we're on issue 3 of the Universal Monsters Frankenstein, which tells the story from a third point of view that is not made in the movies. It follows the movies pretty carefully, pretty closely, except that the point of view is from somebody that isn't invested like any of the characters from the film were.
It's supposed to marry Victor, right?
Yeah.
She's invested.
Yeah. And also it's got a second character's point of view that's different this issue. So each issue we get this little kid's point of view about the whole ongoing stuff. And then we usually get another side character that we don't normally see how they might perceive it or what their part was, how to play in it. And it adds layers. They do have to struggle to keep the little kid involved in the story because, there's a time when the fiance runs home, gets away from Frankenstein because of his mad experiments. And they're supposed to be married, but he keeps putting her off because he's got this big project going on. And the kid goes with her, and they have to kind of finagle it where this is like a urchin, this is like a street urchin, so
Oh,
he ends up getting with her so that they can he can continue his point of view of the goings on. And then, of course, he's got to be back where the monster is eventually. So they got to take him back to the other place. So that seemed a little heavy handed of him going back and forth. But it still fits because urchins didn't have a whole lot of options back then. I mean, may go to a workhouse or
yeah.
something like that. So, he's kind of like a leaf on the water. He's kind of blowing around. So in some ways it makes sense, but just in this issue, I was like, you have to really arrange it so he can be where he needs to be. But otherwise, quite good.
Ooh,
Um, One of my library friends recommended this. It's a webtoon series that they've now put into book form,
ooh,
and this reminds me a lot of Hellboy, the early Hellboy issues, along with like Atomic Robo. This
ooh,
is Strange Tales of Oscar Zahn, Volume One,
ooh.
and
Like that foil.
yeah, it is. It is very, very a good Halloween read. It reminds me of, again, Hellboy, but kind of with a Vertigo twist to it. There's a lot of steampunk elements to it also, but
Cool.
you get big monsters. Um, you get
Little monsters.
some that are metallic, and yet they're not robots.
Ooh.
They're other kinds of like animated. I think they're like animated suits of armor that are cobbled together from whatever's available, so they're not like
So they got
not.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, but it's more personal stories about. You have a guy who is a paranormal investigator, and he goes around. Well, like they found out this one entity had been haunting a house, and everybody was scared. Um, he has a witch assistant that went with him, but she's like, this thing is old and it's been there a long time and it's not leaving. Well, his job is to get it to go on to the afterlife or to send it along its way. And it ends up, and it's this huge caterpillar looking thing. It's just
Ew.
he's like, oh yeah, that's off the charts. I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. But it ends up being a child,
Oh,
and it died in that house very young, like a few days old, I think. And so its only life, its little brief taste of life is connected to its parents in that house. And there are still pictures of the parents on the wall. So it won't leave.
so long as it got a representation of its
And so
parents.
Oscar has to figure out a way to get it to move on. In the meantime, it's extremely dangerous because it's the pictures look like they're from like maybe the early 1800s. So it has
It's,
been there for a long time.
it's just a baby.
Just a baby. But
It's
that's
a
just one of the stories. They talk about a story where there's a sea captain that there's a sea beneath the sea that you can
Oh,
access with magic, and an eternal whirlpool off the coast of New Zealand. And it's just extremely creative. Um, and every time I think I kind of know what sort of fable they're going for, it becomes a very personalized tale that isn't a fable. It's an individual entity or like that child. So it's really good. I showed it to Brian Rodman. I'm like, this is like Hellboy. You probably like it. He goes, I've been reading Oscars on since it was just a webtoon. I love it. But you're right. You pick well, Clyde. You have me figured
I've
out.
never seen that before. I've got to look for it now.
It's a 2024 book because it's been on a webtoon until now, and they printed it. It's a
Cool.
it's a small company, but I got this at the library, so it's available. In the
Oh, okay.
library system.
I have to go to my
Um,
library and see if they got it.
I didn't review this week because, um, quite frankly, I really like. I think this is the best read I had this week, but I didn't want to. I don't think I could do a review of it without giving too many spoilers. And it's something you should read without a lot of spoilers. Also, I'm Joe, this is kind of his bailiwick, and I thought I would much rather hear his opinion after he's read it, his review of it, than mine. But the second Absolute book is out, and it's Absolute Wonder
Oh,
Woman #1. This
horsey,
is not. I'm sorry.
horsey.
Yeah, this is not as this is not as remodeled as the Batman and Absolute Batman. Um, this is much more like one major thing happened to Diana to change where she spent her life and things that ended up making her the last Amazon. One important difference from the one that we know. Otherwise, the beginning is very similar to the origin of the Wonder Woman that we're all familiar with.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, it's just like the Batman. I find it extremely interesting, very involving, and I'm very curious to see what Joe thinks of it. It got very high ratings, but the Absolute stuff they're really pushing it hard, and it's got they have some tailwind behind them about audiences being prepped for it. Um, but that and Batman, this one and Batman, I thought maybe Wonder Woman would kind of flag, but they both scored like 9.2 in the reviews that I saw.
Cool.
And that's a average, but uh, pretty well received. And um, this is this is a change that I find to be interesting. I will be getting, especially if Superman Absolute is this good, I will be getting those three for a while to see how it goes because they have good hooks to the stories.
If
Cool.
people are saying 9 too, I'm probably not going to enjoy it too much.
Maybe not. And I know, like the Batman, I had difficulties with parts of it, but I could see the appeal. It's not necessarily for my generation of reader, but I could see the story elements that would appeal to a younger audience, and I I'm aboard. I want to see what they do with it. It's
Mm,
sort of one of those curiosity sort of things. But do have I liked the first two of these? Yeah, I find reason to continue to read it. So you know,
Just to let you know, it took me a while to get used to Ultimate. So I'm putting
yeah,
Absolute in the same
same
category.
category.
If
That makes
it's
sense.
too
Yeah,
far different, then I probably won't take to it too quickly.
right. Um, and then iRook or iRook Rook Exodus had its issue number 6. And this is part of the Ghost Machine with the Image Ghost Machine imprint. So it puts it in the same category, the same imprint as things like the Rockefellers that are coming out soon, Hyde Street, and to a lesser extent, Redcoat, Junkyard Joe, Geiger. Except this is not part of the unnamed universe um, that Geiger and Redcoat and Junkyard Joe are part of. So same company, different creative teams, but this is Jeff Johns and Jason Fabik is doing the art. And I've talked over comic book shop folks about this, and they brought up I think, a very solid attraction about this book is that it's one of the few times that you had a story and art that worked so well together to build something unique lately.
ooh,
Um, and yeah, I didn't know Jason Fabik. He's like he's in his mid 20s. He's quite a young guy. He's worked on some big titles though, and one of the things this is a science fiction adventure in the future
ooh,
with it's a and I've reviewed Rook before. Rook Exodus is where a corporation, Earth is having difficulties being a sustainable environment anymore for human beings. So you have these corporations that make atmosphere processing machines and stuff, and they find a place that they think would be good, planet they call Exodus, and they get volunteers to go to help run the machines that will the world building machines to make it better, uh, more habitable for humans.
oh,
And
so
they
the
take
terraforming.
right, and they take animals with them, Earth type animals, and you have certain amounts. The settlers get in there to do farm work and to build structures and things for settlements, and certain ones of them are selected to wear these bio helmets that connect them to certain animals. So you have Rook. Um, he is a farmer. The animals that do the most destruction to his crop, they're birds, crows, avians. So they give him a avian helmet so he can connect with them and keep them from basically running roughshod and eating up all of his profits and everything, and also to live in harmony with the rest. And you have other wardens. There's one, Dyer is a friend of his, and she has a wolf helmet, so she controls lupine life.
Okay, it's him and Dyer on the cover then.
No.
Chicky with the wolf. That's not the wolf helmet she's wearing?
Well, okay, yes, that's her, that's him. That is Ursaw. That is a bear, an ursine warden.
Oh.
But these wardens help control the environment by making it, humans and animals are able to coexist in harmony because they help guide them to other, like the birds, other places you can go to eat, go away from my crops. And different wardens have different connections. Like Carapace is a turtle warden, and he can't take his shell off anymore because
Aw.
he's so invested in being like them, kind of gone native. Rook is very much, it's a practicality issue for him initially. Dyer is very, very, very fond of her lupus companions and stuff, but he's kind of a bit standoffish. They're crows. They're smart and everything, but
I'm just trying to keep my crop safe.
yes. Well, then this corporation that sent them to this world stopped sending supply ships, and they can't raise them anymore. They can't communicate with them, so they don't know if something's happened on Earth, like a war. They don't know, but they know that at the point that they're in, surviving on this world as it is terraformed up to this point is going to be difficult. There's still big storms that come and things, and so can they be self-sustaining? Well, so there's a big rush for anybody that can get the money and the means to go home, and then you have the others that stay behind. Rook ends up being one of those that stays behind along with these other folks. He's kind of, his hand is sort of forced into staying. He was going to leave, but he ends up being forced to stay. And so all the others, they're like, we're not leaving. We got too much invested in this, of our lives and our blood and our animals. We're not going to abandon the animals.
Oh yeah,
So,
'cause-
yeah. So, but then you've got this warden called Ursal that's running around killing the wardens and taking their helmets like a power play,
oh
and
no.
giving them to people that are loyal to him, since there's no governing authority anymore.
Got it.
And so this is the showdown between the wardens and Ursaw and his warden forces in this issue, and it does not disappoint. As a
Ooh.
mystery science fiction, and see, science fiction is easy for me to lose track of, or to lose interest in. Give me some kind of an ongoing dystopia story. I'm normally not going to stay with it for a long haul. Maybe you want to buy every book. um, but this one has managed to hold my interest this whole arc. The ending it answers questions in a satisfying way, while posing more questions for the next arc to go with in developing. So
Cool.
yeah, I'll show you some of the artwork here too, because
Ooh,
Fabik, he deserves a lot of credit. I mean, we start off the first page.
ooh, yeah.
Big pursuit going on here.
Love
And
that
see,
that dune buggy jumping up in the air.
yeah. And he he makes the detailing on the tech work. Everything that Jeff Johns has created from his imagination, he gives it technical, detailed expertise, along with some really, really good onomatopoeia too. Some good sound effects, but it's just the layouts are interesting. The detail is very, very, very. Uh, um, it's very, very meticulously rendered, is what I would call it. You got a lot of action sequences in this
A
book.
lot of detail.
Yeah. Um, and then you get, good breaking up of the compositions from big panels to the very, very small, the very personal. Um, this is a point where Rook finds out that the crows are more than he ever expected them to be as far as his allies.
Wow.
Um, yeah. Well, I mean, he seems to have forgotten that, if you feed a crow, a lot of times they will bring you stuff. You ever heard of that?
I know, but that gives me an idea. We have storm. I call them the storm crows. It's a mating pair of crows
Uh-huh.
that show up here at the beginning of every spring.
You know how they like shiny things? I don't know how many times I have known people that would feed crows and end up with little baubles, like they would collect the baubles, like
Oh, so a way of like
shiny
saying
bits.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And so he gets an insight into how that can be true. But
Cool.
get Dyer here that is, uh, I don't know if she'll be a love interest or not, but she's definitely a friend, and their friendship develops deeper
Yeah.
through all the stuff they go through. Um, and then now at the beginning here, the first inside page, we always get a background so you kind of know what's going on as far as the story up till now, which I always appreciate. And then leaving, you get information. You'll get a character sheet and info. A lot of times it is based on what has been revealed in this issue, and with Ursal, that's definitely the case because we didn't know for sure where he was coming from, except he was a power grabbing wannabe warlord. It goes deeper than that, but
Mm,
each issue, you get a little rundown of their abilities and some of their background as it becomes known in that issue.
cool.
Yeah. So I think based on for the series overall, but for issue number 6 in particular, it's done so well. It's so well written and it's so well rendered, and it is such a good. Jeff Johns. I know that there have been times when people thought he was formulaic. This has kept me guessing sufficiently for a mystery science fiction story, so I don't find. I think sometimes his talent is geared up into what corporate wants for. This has got to work in with what we're doing over here, and sometimes he doesn't necessarily do that well. Other times he's very, very much like, I've got to tell this part of the story, and he gets really driven to do his focus on a character, and sometimes it doesn't work. So I know people are kind of back and forth about him. Also, he's getting into the later years of his career, so people are like, I've read Jeff Johns, but this is really good storytelling, and I think having this completely blank canvas to work on really helps him shine along with the art. That together they have crafted a very fine science fiction story that I didn't intend to get this. I just kind of got the first issue because I liked Ghost Machine. I liked what they were doing with Junkyard Joe, and I figured I would get the connected ones, but not this. It's right up there with everything else. I every week that I've gotten it's a highlight of my week for ongoing story. To see what's happening next.
Cool.
So I will go out on a limb here and say series and issue number 6 is good enough that I'm going to give it an 8 Raven Baubles out of 10.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not shabby at all.
And I think as time goes on, I'm going to
Mhm.
reread it like next year. I will read it again from beginning to end, but it could go to like 8.5. It's quite
Ah.
good. Yes. Yes, the Raven approves. Yes. Uh,
And
Well,
he's
gang, I
kind of
hate
hard to
to cut it
please.
off quickly, but a certain person is hungry. I haven't had anything to eat. Plus, dryer stopped.
Oh
You
no!
have to make sure it stopped because it needed to stop and somebody didn't stop it.
Oh no!
Well,
So,
then it's good night from me and
all
good
right,
night
here
from
you go.
him. Hi there. If you want to find Elaine, look for her here on YouTube. Elaine Haygood. Or if you want to find her on Facebook, just go to Elaine Haygood. All right? Hold on. Or if you want to find her on her website, go to linscaponline.com. And if you go to the website, drop her a note so she knows. And if you're lucky, she might write you back. Hey, how often do you get to do something? You know.
Yeah.
It was entertaining.
Yes. Entertaining.
Well,
And the scariest thing we've seen this week. So perfect. Perfect for the Halloween season.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk to you guys in chat tomorrow because I want to make. We should all make a list of our Halloween movies so we can bug each other during the day about who's watched what. And
Okay.
Okay.
okay,
Well, you guys do that.
love you guys. Take care, Joe. Do not blow up your major appliances.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
I don't blow them up. I fix them.
Yeah. And don't yell at your mama. Okay.
No, I'm
Bye.
not going to yell at her because this time it was not her fault.
Okie dokie.
That's why I
Y'all
said I have
take.
to keep peace in the house because it's a certain other individual.
Uh-oh.
Got it. Y'all take care. Love you to death. See you
Mhm.
next time. Bye.
Bye-bye. So, I'm Clyde Hall. I'm an elder statesman of geekery. You can follow me on Facebook at Clyde Hall, or Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall, where we try to make it at least one posting to improve your day. I'm on Twitter at CJ Hall 1984. You can check out my Amazon authors page right here. If you happen to go look up Clyde Hall on Facebook or Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall, you can actually participate in seeing all of our Halloween You're Doing It Right postings. That's been a daily thing we do every day in October. And we look at like creative costuming normally, sometimes creative yard decorating and stuff like that for the Halloween season. But if you're looking for ideas for costumes, especially last minute do it yourself things, check it out. I'm currently part of the online comic book review crew at comicsbeat.com, aka The Beat. That's www.comicsbeat, all one word, .com. And of course, part of the Comic Book Spectrum podcast every Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central, right here on YouTube. In my spare time, I'm an independent award winning author and a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. Um, and I'm getting ready to become a contributing author at a second company. And I have mentioned it once, but still, I'm signed up to work on it, but I don't see a lot of things posted publicly about the project yet, so I don't want to give away too much information on it. But once again, it's a kind of a new pulp action adventure series that's set in the 1930s to 1940s. So I should be kind of in the zone based on the things that I've done before. Things like The Lost Adventures of Captain Hawkland, Volume 1 and this is Volume 2. Charles F. Millhouse, the head of Stormgate Press, had me in on several of the anthology short stories. This is one. Spurs and Six Shooters, Tales of the Old West. That's another. And Major Marjorie. This is another, which is space opera kind of new pulp. And uh, part of the crew over at Stormgate Press. I call him part of the crew because he's done enough covers for us that he should have earned himself a spot. Is Jeffrey Hayes? He is the person that runs Plasma Fire Graphics, and he's a Pulp Factory award-winning artist, several years running. And his covers illustrate why. This is a cover he did for my Captain Hawkland Lost Adventures Volume 1 short story, The Banshee Barnstormer, and it's perfect, especially for Halloween with that ghastly skull pilot there in the background. But working with him to make this was fun, and he is extremely affordable. And he is the kind of guy that his talent brings customers to your table when you're at a show because his covers are just mwah. So, um, now Joe is going to tell you how you can contact Jeffrey Hayes and get Plasmafire Graphics working for your next project.
And that is correct. So if you like what you saw with the covers that Clyde did, take a gander at this video right here.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
There you have it. If you like what you just saw, make sure you hit up Jeffrey Hayes at plasmafiregraphics.com. As far as for me, I will be back here Saturday with another episode From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher, as well as we have another Whatnot show this Saturday as well at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on Whatnot. So until then, live life, grow, and be well. And unlike BKM, I don't care if you wash your hands, but never, and I do mean never, apologize for being awesome. Catch you next week right here on Comic Book Spectrum.